The Shag Harbour incident, Canada's official unsolved UFO case, a glowing object crashed into Canadian waters in 1967. The military searched for days. They never found it because it left on its own. Late evening settles over the coastal fishing village of Shag Harbour, Nova Scotia, on October 4, 1967. The Atlantic waters lie dark beneath a clear autumn sky. Along a 10-mile stretch of coastline, ordinary citizens go about their evening routines, unaware that they are about to become witnesses to an event that will generate the only officially unsolved UFO classification in Canadian government history. The first observers notice unusual lights in the sky, not random or fleeting, but deliberate. 4 orange lights arranged in a specific pattern move through the darkness at a controlled descent. Multiple witnesses from different locations along the coast watch the same object from their independent vantage points. The lights descend at a precise 45-degree angle toward the water. There is no sound of engines, no distress signals, no radio communication that anyone can detect. The object impacts the surface of Shag Harbour with enough force to produce a flash of white light visible across the coastline. Witnesses see the moment of contact. They see the water react, and then they see something that defies conventional explanation for any aircraft crash. A luminous yellow foam begins spreading across the impact site, glowing in the darkness like nothing the fishermen and residents have seen in decades of living beside these waters. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police receive the calls within minutes. Multiple reports from credible witnesses describing the same event at the same location creates an immediate response protocol. This is not dismissed as imagination or misidentification. Officers are dispatched to the scene with the working assumption that an aircraft has crashed into Canadian waters and that lives may be at stake. When RCMP officers arrive at the shoreline, they observe the yellow-white foam still present on the surface. The substance spreads across approximately half a mile of water, drifting slightly with the current. The officers document the location. They confirm the coordinates provided by witnesses. They observe the foam with their own eyes and record its presence in official reports. The assumption remains that this is an aircraft crash site, and the standard emergency response mechanisms activate accordingly. The Canadian Coast Guard launches vessels to the site. The military is notified. Search and rescue operations begin immediately, coordinated across multiple government agencies with a single objective: locate the crashed aircraft and recover any survivors or remains. Boats search the surface. Divers prepare to search below. The response is comprehensive, professional, and thoroughly documented through official channels. But the search finds nothing. No wreckage appears on the surface. No debris field consistent with any known aircraft emerges from the water. The foam itself dissipates over time, leaving no physical residue that can be collected and analyzed. The divers who descend to the sea floor at the documented impact coordinates find no aircraft, no fuselage, no engine parts, no materials consistent with a crash of any conventional flying vehicle. The search continues for days. Military divers make repeated descents. Coast Guard vessels maintain their presence. The RCMP coordinates information from the continuing witness interviews. Every standard protocol for an aircraft crash investigation is followed, and every protocol yields the same result. There is nothing there to find. The Transport Canada Incident Report on the Shag Harbour event carries a classification that appears nowhere else in the documented history of Canadian aviation incidents. The official designation reads as an unidentified flying object, not probable aircraft, not misidentified natural phenomenon, unknown. And that classification, filed in 1967, has never been changed, upgraded, or resolved in the more than 50 years since the event occurred. For decades, the Shag Harbour incident exists in official records but remains largely unknown outside government and military circles. The witnesses remember. The RCMP officers who responded remember. The divers who searched the empty sea floor remember. but the full scope of what occurred that October night remains hidden in classified documents and fading memories. In the 1990s, Canadian researcher Chris Stiles begins a comprehensive investigation into the Shag Harbour case. Working alongside fellow researcher Don Ledger, Stiles pursues the documented facts through official channels. He files Freedom of Information requests with the Canadian government. He interviews witnesses who have remained silent for decades. He locates RCMP officers who filed the original reports. And gradually, through meticulous research and documented evidence, a more complex picture emerges. The government documents Stiles obtains confirm what the witnesses reported. The RCMP response is documented. The Coast Guard deployment is confirmed. The military involvement is verified through official records. The Transport Canada classification as an unidentified flying object is authentic and remains unresolved. But the documents reveal something more significant than just the initial incident. According to the evidence Stiles uncovers, the object did not simply vanish after impact. Military monitoring of the area continued for days beyond the initial search and rescue operation. Documents indicate awareness of a secondary location off Government Point, suggesting the object moved along the sea floor after the initial impact site was searched and found empty. Military witnesses begin coming forward to Stiles with accounts that align with the documentary evidence. They describe monitoring operations that extended well beyond the public search and rescue response. They confirm continued naval attention to specific underwater coordinates. They provide testimony consistent with tracking a mobile object on the sea floor, something no conventional aircraft could accomplish after a crash of sufficient force to produce a visible flash and extensive surface foam. The object apparently remains on the sea floor for a period of days. Navy personnel maintain awareness of its location. Monitoring continues through official military channels. And then, according to the accounts Stiles documents, the object departs, not recovered, not salvaged, not brought to surface through any human agency. It simply leaves the area under its own capability. No wreckage is ever retrieved from Shag Harbour. No physical evidence remains beyond the official incident reports and the documented government response. The foam dissipates. The water returns to its normal state. The object, whatever it was, is gone. In 2001, Stiles and Ledger published their findings in the book Dark Object, presenting the most comprehensive documentation of the Shag Harbour incident ever compiled. The work includes the government documents obtained through Freedom of Information requests, the witness testimony collected over years of investigation, and the military accounts that confirm continued monitoring beyond the initial search operation. The Canadian government's official position has never changed. The incident remains classified as unsolved. The Transport Canada designation of unidentified flying object remains in the official record without revision or explanation. No conventional aircraft matching the description has ever been identified. No military exercise has been acknowledged that would account for the event. The case remains open in the only way that matters. The official government documentation contains no resolution. Today, Shag Harbour recognizes its place in documented history with an official heritage site. An interpretive display marks the location where, on October 4, 1967, multiple witnesses observed an object with 4 orange lights descend into Canadian waters, where RCMP and Coast Guard responded to what they believed was an aircraft crash, and where the only physical evidence, a half-mile spread of luminous yellow foam, disappeared without leaving any recoverable trace. The Shag Harbour incident stands alone in the documented record of unidentified aerial phenomena. It is the only UFO case to generate an immediate, coordinated, multi-agency search and rescue operation. It is the only case supported by official government incident reports that have never been resolved or explained. It is the best documented underwater UAP event in history, verified through Freedom of Information releases that confirm military awareness and continued monitoring beyond the public response. The waters off Shag Harbour hold no visible evidence of what occurred that October night. The object left no wreckage. The foam left no residue, but the official Canadian government records contain something that cannot be dismissed or explained away. A classification of unknown that has remained unchanged for over half a century, supported by RCMP reports, Coast Guard documentation, military records, and the testimony of credible witnesses who watched something descend from the sky, impact the water, survive on the sea floor, and depart without human intervention. What descended into Shag Harbour in 1967 remains, in the only designation that matters, officially unknown. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.